Hello and welcome to, I forgot it already, episode 247 of the Veeam Community Recap. We're back in normal circumstances. I did not oversleep this week, but I'm also 3 hours forward on the time zone. And I'm back this week with Madalena. Good day, Maddie. How are you?
Good day, Rick. Good day, community. Yeah, doing great. We were just talking about our awesome summit that is going to happen in Paris, the Community Summit. So, a lot of plans to talk about. Looking forward to see the team. And on top of that, it's been a quite busy period of time at Veeam, right? A lot to catch up with, a lot of great announcements. So, I think we are starting the year in shape.
Yeah, indeed. We have been busy here at the Veeam team. We had our internal kickoff last week and really showcased internally the innovation pipeline, which will absolutely show its way up in the community. And yeah, it's a wild time. So I think we should just jump into it. Sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so let's go first up with our featured content straight from the desk of Madalena. This is Michael Melter with a v13 upgrade pitfall around console certificates caused by Sophos Web Inspection. Whoa, a lot of words. What caught your eye on this one, Maddie?
Always like Michael's articles, he always comes with something different. So, really appreciate, first of all, that. Thank you for that, Michael. This time, he walks us through an issue he encountered after upgrading to Veeam Backup and Replication v13, where basically access to the VBR console was completely blocked by certificate errors. And he says it was tricky because everything on the Veeam side appeared healthy and the error occurred regardless of whether the connection was made via localhost, IP, FQDN. And after ruling out common causes, Michael identified that the root issue was actually the Sophos Web Inspection, which was intercepting and resigning the TLS traffic. So once the web inspection was disabled, or you can also exclude it, the console access was basically restored. So I guess the takeaway here is you should review security controls around backup infrastructure after upgrades, because that's quite important and it can cause you some issues. Um, and yeah, again, thank you, Michael, for sharing it with us. I think this is great.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because I had a different certificate problem, and I'm going to talk about that in the next one with my 13 upgrade. I got a little twist that actually the content you picked, Maddie, this, the next one, and the Vanguard blog spotlight all align to a story that honestly I should probably write up, but we'll come back to that. But thank you, Michael, for this one. Yeah, these certificates, this is one of the, especially with 13, really the end-to-end security, even more so with the Veeam software appliance, really is an area that people can find some interesting behavior. So leads us nicely to Christian I am soul ever soul with his message of unable to reinstall deploy service SSH on components related to v13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you said, kind of related. And as you said, he is discussing here a common upgrade blocker in Veeam Backup and Replication v13, where component updates fail with an SSH credential error on hardened repositories. And the issues seem to have to do with Veeam's move to single-use credentials, which are now mandatory for deploying and upgrading components on Veeam hardened repository. So standard upgrade paths don't work until these credentials are explicitly generated from the repository itself. And Chris shows us the correct workflow to generate the single-use credentials, complete the upgrade, and safely disable SSH afterward. And as we heard from our community members, throughout different channels, the single-use credentials are absolutely the right move for hardened repositories, but they introduced a mindset shift for admins used to traditional SSH workflows. So it's just a matter of getting used with it. What do you think about that, Rick?
It is absolutely something you have to use and get familiar with, but What's interesting here, it looks like Christian upgraded from Windows 12 to Windows 13, has, let's just call it the first generation hardened repository with that configurator, because enter a plot twist. There's also the way of doing it with, you could upgrade V12 Windows to V13 Windows, and you could use the Veeam infrastructure appliance. Now, you've heard us talk a lot about the Veeam software appliance. That is your Veeam backup and replication in your Veeam Backup Enterprise Manager, the software. A Veeam infrastructure appliance would be a proxy, repository, mount server, something like that. So there's actually two different ways to do this. So Christian's taking the kind of the V12 VHR forward with that. But one of the things I want to highlight, and I see it right here because it's stuck on my upgrades for some things, especially repositories that are NAS, don't do IP addresses with the Windows appliance. So if you have, ambitions to migrate to the Veeam software appliance, to the Linux, hardened environment, now's the time to maybe get some of these repositories reconfigured to be DNS names. So I found that out with SMB shares, can't do it. I also have immutable targets. That's also another, hey, Rick, why don't you have immutable? So keep that in mind. But true story, Madi, I was one of the very first, I think I was the second environment to use our migration from Windows BNR to the Veeam software appliance. Now, it's not public yet. There is a sign-up page that's linked in the Upgrade Center, but there's a couple of things I learned, and IPs and some of the certificates for agents, those are things I learned about. So a lot of these topics are actually right in my wheelhouse of some of these upgrade things. So I'm going to update the Upgrade Center with some of these learnings, but I need to get everything sorted out first, and then I'll make sure I come back to that. But Christian, good stuff. Thank you for sharing this bit around the single-use credential with SSH for the VHR pre-V12. Good stuff. Oh, a lot of information. All right, next is Sir Tomalot. Tommy, my man from Canada. He's migrating 360 terabytes of immutable backups between object repositories natively with Veeam. I got a story on this one, but what caught your eye on this one, Madi?
Really good one. Again, another one from the field, I guess. He's taking us through a migration, as you said, of 360 terabytes. That's a lot of immutable object storage backups between two data centers in different cities, which is interesting. And the challenge wasn't just the data size, but the constraints as well, like the object block, the immutability, the limited customer run bandwidth, the strict compliance requirements. And instead of relying on third-party object copy tools, Tommy decided to actually design a fully Veeam native approach using a scale-out backup repository, a repository evacuation, and the remote gateway servers. So the result was actually a control and high-performance migration that respected the immutability, minimized the customer impact, and then it stayed entirely within supported Veeam workflow. So I think that was very smart of him. And this is a good, practical, basically blueprint for service providers, enterprises facing similar object storage transitions at scale. And I think it's going to be useful for so many people that are going to come to our community hub and read this and, need an idea on how to do this. So thank you very much for sharing, Tommy.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you so much. In fact, I'm over on the side tab here trying to look for a blog post. You're going to laugh, Madi. I'm looking for a blog post I wrote like 15 years ago related to this, like one of my first things ever at Veeam. And so you guys, when I do this stuff, I should really have these things ready to go when I come up with these crazy ideas. I shouldn't just go looking for stuff random on the internet. I'm not like Madi, I don't prepare. But give me 1 second here. I want to show you something. I'll tell you the story while I look this up. So Tommy, what you just did is literally something that was really similar to what I did actually before I joined Veeam. So this was in 2009, 2008 type of thing. I had a phenomena when I was working at the bank where I had to move just an incredible amount of data. I think it was over a petabyte, but the problem was it was really, really small files. They were actually, what do you call it, like scanned images of checks, and it was
Okay.
on file servers. And I was
Wow.
moving to a new file server. And same problem with Tommy, third-party tools weren't really an option. He had to use Veeam to do it. I had a similar problem where nothing could move that many files really easily and quickly, but you know what could? Veeam. And this was before we did physical stuff. That fast SCP, that file engine, even though object, the Tommy example is very different. Before, we even supported physical servers, that file engine was actually really, really good. That was the best way to move files for me back in 2008, 2009. I think that's just crazy because what Tommy's talking about here is really similar. I can't find the blog. I give up. But this is really cool. So, Tommy, thank you so much for sharing it. I have been there. I have felt your pain. 2 extra twists of modern elements. 1, object storage. 2, immutable. And I'm glad that Veeam saved the day with the sober technology.
Totally. And maybe if you find that link, Rick, you can just put it in the,
I don't know. I don't think I was a good writer that long ago, so I don't know. We'll see.
Well, just find it, read it, and then decide if you want to share it, because it might just be good information, and good inspiration for other people. So why not?
Indeed. It's kind of like, I don't know if you know this, Madi, but like before I joined Veeam, I did a lot of blogging. So like all through the 2000s. It's like a whole part of the internet I don't want anybody to find. But anyways, we'll see.
Well,
all right. Hard pivot. We're going to the Vanguard blog spotlight. And this week, Carrie Sun, and by the way, the Veeam Software Appliance 1301 on Hyper-V, that's how I run it at home. So hat tip to Hyper-V. I'm one of the biggest fans of that. But Madi, this is a great, complete, I got to go fast. There's a lot of screenshots, complete end-to-end deployment on Hyper-V. This is pretty cool.
This is an insanely long article, I'm going to tell you. Nevertheless, valuable content in here. And as I said it, I think he's winning. If we're going to ever do a contest for the longest article, I think this is going to win. But yeah, good stuff in here. Essentially, Carrie provides a step-by-step walkthrough for deploying the Veeam software appliance on Windows Server 2025 Hyper-V. And it covers everything from preparing the Hyper-V VM with the correct hardware sizing through attaching disks and booting from the VSA ISO to completing the Linux-based installation with networking, MFA, security roles, and so on and so forth. The post also highlights how VSA simplifies Veeam data platform deployments by offering a pre-hardened appliance-style installation that supports faster setup and high availability compared to traditional Windows-based installs. And as I said, while the steps are extremely detailed, I feel like that's exactly what makes it valuable for admins who want, a very predictable, just repeatable deployment without having to, guesswork, and just follow the steps that Carrie is sharing in here. You have a 100% correct installation. So that's really, really great. Thank you for this once again, Carrie-san, and looking forward to your next article, because you do write a lot, so you're going to definitely be mentioned in our VBS in the following recaps.
Yeah, indeed. And, definitely giving the Germans a run for the money here. Now, there's something I'm reading, and I was listening to you, Madi, but there's something I'm not seeing in here, Carrie. I want to know what you did. So here, we're looking good. The one thing, I just want to make sure you caught it. I want to see if you addressed that, the secure, zoom in for folks. Those of you who know Hyper-V, I just don't know if you changed that, but I don't know if you're starting at the top and working at the bottom or working bottom to top. Hold on.
It's
Is it in
60
here?
steps in there, Rick.
There it is. Okay. So he has addressed this. Okay, good. So I just want to make sure. You're right. He covered it all. Everything is. Yeah. All right, Carrie, son. You passed my test. Thank you for sharing, Carrie. Happy to feature you on this week's Vanguard Blog Spotlight. So rock on. Thank you for that. All right.
We didn't even have the time, imagine, to scroll
I didn't even get
all the way down.
Like all the way down at the bottom, just to close the loop. He goes all the way into Veeam BNR. He does it all. Yeah. So thank you, Carrie, son.
Awesome stuff. Yes.
All right, now in special department news, want to give a special shout out to the Veeam user group Denmark group meeting 3rd February at, I always want to see where they're meeting, right? So I always like to pull this up. So let's go to JYSK. Let's see what we got there. But happy for that group. They always get pretty good turnout, that group.
Okay. Good discussions as well. Like Nikolai is a really good VUG leader of Denmark. He's usually organizing 2 events, in-person events per year, as far as I saw. This one takes place February 3rd, so it's pretty soon, and it's going to be at the JISC. He works for JISC, actually, so it's easy. They have a good big office in there. I went there once 2 years ago, I think. So good offices. Thank you, JISC, for offering the venue. And I think Objects First is sponsoring this one, like catering and other things like swag and stuff like that. And it looks like a full day of good stuff. I can see v13 there. I can see Shoreback, of course, Object First, networking, and pretty good things. And welcome to Veeam user group. I guess there's going to be a session about, what are the plans for
maybe, hey, does anybody else want to be a leader, a member involved? I think that's a great opportunity too.
Super cool stuff.
I mean, this is all day. I mean, this is a commitment. Yeah. Actually, one what sticks out is kind of cool here is this one right here, a roundtable. So like it really probably interactive Q&A discussions, show and tell, that kind of stuff. So that's really cool also.
Oh yeah, it was back in 2024, I think, when it was the first in-person event that Nikolai organized. We also had a roundtable, like a lot of questions, even though I don't speak Danish, right? But I could see like people were showing interest and they had really good conversations around it. So fantastic job.
And what's crazy is when you hear another language, when you hear Veeam, you'll hear some words: backup, recover, instant. You hear some phrases, VSA. You'll hear words, immutable, that just kind of translate through it all. It's kind of scary because like when there's a language I know a little bit of, I can follow along, which is funny. So
yeah, totally. Yeah. Worth mentioning because last week we only put it in the post and we didn't have the video, but worth mentioning that this week there is VUG Netherlands taking place as well. I think today is Wednesday. The event takes place tomorrow. So good job in there, Jos and Maurice.
Yep. Always click on the events widget on the top of the page. You'll know what's up, where it's at, and all that. Yeah. Awesome. So rock on user groups kicking off, and let's go over to fresh from the desk of Sophia. Happy to welcome plus 160 new users this week in MUI. I think that's how you'd say it. MUI? I don't know.
Probably.
Supernova, Black Jaguar. That's funny. Actually, these two both are funny. I think these are hilarious. Matt was already taken.
Yeah, Matt was already taken. That's a cool one. I think I like the default user as well.
Yeah, those are all really good. So welcome everyone, plus 160. Always, good to see consistent new membership. We used to mention everybody, but oh boy, 160 a week. It's crazy talk, but well over the 30,000 mark. Got some big plans for the year. So I think this is the second episode we've recorded, but now I can really it's crazy. It's the 21st of January, but I can feel like I'm really starting 2026 now. So
yeah, insane. Already the end of the month. Wow.
Yeah, I know. Don't get me started on that. But so next week, I'll be back in normal circumstances next week.
Yay.
I think.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
What's going on?
I'll take it. All right, Madi, anything else on your side?
I think we are good and looking forward to everything that's going to happen this year in the community. Big plans, as you said. Looking forward to our conversations in February and to our next episode of Recap next week.
Indeed. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. This was episode 247. We will see you next week with 248. Have a great weekend, everyone.